Australia and be with Lisa. Hello, Elizabeth. I saw you somewhere. So invocations, Prarthana Slokah. Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnan Chaturbhujam Prasanna Dhyanandhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye Yasnya Dvirada Vaktradyaha Parishadyah Parashatam Vignan Nignanti Satatam Vishvaksenantamashraye Jnananandamayan devam Nirmalaspatikakritim Adharam sarvavidyanam Hayagrivamupassmahe Pundarikaasanasinam Pandurabhrendusannibham Akhanda bodhajanakam Hayagrivamupassmahe Gurubhyastad Gurubhyascha Namo Vakamadhimahe Vranimahe Chatatradyau Dampati Jagatam Pati Shri Krishna Vagishayatishvarabhyam Samprapta Chakrankana Bhashyasaram Shri Nutnarangendra Yatau Samarpitasvam Shri Krishna Maryam Guru Varyamide Virodhe Kartike Mase Shatatara Kritodayam Yogacharyam Krishna Maryam Guru Varyamaham Bhaje Shishnyakan Krishna Maryasya Nathavam Shapradipakam Kalyana Gunarupantam Shri Deshikam Namamyaham Prashanta Purushakaram Viniyoga Pracharakam Vishesha Vaidikam Surim Tandeshikam Smaramyaham Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Today, we are in the middle of Navaratri. So everyone repeat after me. Navaratri. Ratri. Navaratri, which literally means 9 nights. They are the 9 nights and I think 10 days in which we pay particular attention to our honoring of the goddesses, the Devis. And I've asked Harmony, who has very kindly consented to lead us in chanting 3 different invocations to the 3 primary deities, divas, who are Durga, Sarasvati, and Lakshmi, or in the proper order, I think it is Durga, Lakshmi, and Sarasvati. So Harmony, if you will, please unmute yourself and say whatever you would like and lead us in chanting when it's right.
Okay, sure. Well, I'm not necessarily an expert, but
Who is?
yeah, there's a lot to know. But each night or each day and night is dedicated to a different incarnation or a different representation of the goddess. But as Leslie said, there's sort of 3 main goddesses. So there's like chants you could do each day, different chants, but there's, can get as elaborate as you want, and you can wear specific colors on specific days and eat specific foods on specific days. And like everything in India, it can be quite complex. So this is like by far a very simplified version where you only need to chant the sort of main mantras, or one of the main mantras for the goddesses. And like every god or goddess in India, there's many different mantras that are dedicated to them. So the first mantra is to help overcome our bad habits or our lower inclinations, the things that are sort of our negative tendencies. And so for the first 3 nights, this started on October 17th. So we've kind of passed these 3 days, but it's always good to chant to Durga anyway, because Durga is actually holds within her all of the goddesses and all of the deities. She's always represented. I left her downstairs, but holding all the different weapons, like the discus, the conch, the sword, like many, many different weapons. And so can basically turn into whoever and whatever she wants, and defeat all of the demons, all of the evil things in the world, all of our negative tendencies. So the mantra for the first 3 days is chanted Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. And I think you have a handout of this. And then Sri Lakshmi is the goddess that we're chanting to for now, starting today and the next 3 days. And Lakshmi, of course, is the consort of Vishnu. And she represents prosperity in all forms, wealth, beauty, and she's sort of the energy that's sustaining the sustainer. So you need money, health, wealth, beauty, all good things. So she's the goddess of prosperity. So this is to help create well-being on all of our levels: physical, emotional, mental, monetary, everything. And that mantra be Om Shri Mahalakshmaye Namaha. And then finally, the last 3 days leading up to the end of Navaratri, which I believe is on the 24th, is Om Aim Saraswataye Namaha. And Saraswati is the goddess of wisdom or speech, studies, and arts and culture. She's the energy of creation. She stimulates Brahma, the deity of creation. And so she is there we're calling upon her to give us creative powers and good studies, good learning, wisdom, intelligence, good speech, beautiful voices for our chanting, all of these things. So this is Saraswati. Durga is Shiva's consort, and she has these great powers of destruction, and that's why she has all the weapons and can destroy all the negative things around us. So we can chant 3 times, and feel free to join in. I'll chant 3 times each of the mantras. So Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. I'll chant that 3 times, and then Om Shri Mahalakshmaye Namaha. And then Om Aim Saraswataye Namaha. And you can join in or read along however you feel comfortable. Okay. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. Om Dum Durgaye Namaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmaye Namaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmaye Namaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmaye Namaha. Om Aim Saraswataye Namaha. Om Aim Saraswataye Namaha. Om Aim Saraswataye Namaha. So if you want to celebrate Navaratri, you can chant these mantras 108 times, not all of them. You can just pick one, or you can do the first one for the first 3 days, or now the Lakshmi one for today and the next 2 days after today, and then the Saraswati one for the last 3 days. And on the 10th day, you are to just think of the goddess and all of the blessings that she bestows, and honor her in your reading, in your mind, and in the work that you do. So that will be close to our next class, I think. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful, Harmony. Does anyone have anything to add or contribute, or anything or any question about these goddesses? Not that we can answer them, but you could pose a question and we can just reflect on it.
So I have a question. So I've introduced the gunas to my students in one of my classes, right? And so when I quickly read these 3 descriptions on this handout, I was like, wait a minute, these seem to be like each of the 3 gunas in some way. And I just wonder whether there was any linkage there.
I don't know for a fact, but I think that's wonderful. Why not? But it could be that it may not be fixed. On a given day, we might perceive these goddesses as, like, for you, which one is associated for you right now with which guna for you?
I say I'm kind of Tamasic right now, to be honest with you. I'm
Well,
really kind of like not moving very quickly anywhere. So, but that's just where I am.
I think like sometimes people make these connections between Brahma, so the god of creation, being associated with Rajas because it's the energy of propulsion, of movement, of creation, the
Yeah.
rising action. And then Vishnu is associated with sattva because it's the balance, sustaining action. And then Shiva is associated with tamas. He likes to hang out in graveyards and destroy things. So it's the declination action. So probably their consorts would also be related, I would say, to the same thing, like Saraswati, the power of creation, the Rajas, the Vak energy, the energy of speech, and then Lakshmi, the energy of sustaining us, right, with beauty and money and wealth and prosperity. And then Durga is the destruction, the powerful warrior who's maybe more related to tamas, like her incarnations of Kali is dark and a little bit scary. So
Yeah. It's fascinating.
I mean, you can kind of
Thank
make
you.
associations with
Yeah.
anything in India.
Yeah.
That's good insight. Is that making sense to you, Andy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Harmony. That's wonderful. Does anyone else have anything to say? Do you wish to declare your Rajas, Tamas, or Sattva at this point? Thank you so much. Now I feel like I'm allowed to proceed because we have honored the feminine divine aspects, which are of course within each one of us, aren't they? Let's hope. I just want to share with you all, maybe you all are aware of this film that's now very popular. I heard an interview on NPR. It has nothing to do with our chanting, and yet my memory of that film has been pervading everything I'm doing, so I may as well mention it. The name of the film is My Octopus Teacher by Craig Foster, and he's from West Cape, South Africa. And it's he documents just about a year's time that he spent with this one octopus during her lifetime. And it's just, see it. It's on Netflix, so do see it. It's just, wow, it's just wonderful. So I can't proceed without, mentioning it. So, and now I'd also like to, so let's move on to the Bhagavad Gita, shall we? Or shall we not? We completed the page that ends on 23, right? Did we? Is that where we ended? Was it 23 or did we move on? Okay, we were finished at 23. For the sake of Becky, who just joined us, and some of us have suffered losses, I'd like to, let's chant, just chant through verses 20 through 23, just all together, not in call and response. And then we'll begin at 24 with the call and response. And I just happened to pick up Sargent's translation. Which is not the most poetic of translations, but it will suffice. So I'll just read through those verses in English first. Starting with the Najayate Mriyate. Neither is this the embodied self born, nor does it die at any time, nor having been will it again come not to be. Birthless, eternal, perpetual, primeval, it is not slain when the body is slain. He who knows this, or she who knows this, the indestructible, the eternal. So the one who knows the indestructible, the birthless, the imperishable, in what way does this person cause to be slain, Arjuna? Whom does he slay? As after casting away worn out garments, a man later takes on new ones, women do too. So after casting away worn out bodies, the embodied self encounters other new ones. Weapons do not pierce this, the embodied self. Fire does not burn this. Water does not wet this, nor does the wind cause it to wither. So now let's chant those verses. Om Na jayate mriyate va kadachin na yam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire veda vinashinan nityam ya enamajama vyayam kathan sapurusha partha Kanghatayati hantikam vasansi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grihnati naro parani tatha sharirani Vihaya jirnan yan yani sanya tinavani dehi nainan chindanti shastrani nainan dahati pavakaha Na chainang kledayantyapo na shoshayati marutaha. Before we move on, does anyone have anything to say about what we've just chanted? Wish to chant anything again? Okay, shall we move on? Om Achedyo Yamadahyo Yam Akled Kyo Shoshya Evacha Nitya Sarvakatha Sarnur Achaloyan Sanatanaha. So now, line by line, there's a tricky one there. I think I wish to check and make sure I did not type out any mistakes. Akledyo shoshya. There is a mistake that I made. Akled kyo. We don't have to chant that. Cross out the K. Akledyo shoshya eva kacha. That makes a lot more sense. Akledyo. My apologies, everyone. I will retype this later. So back to line 1. Om Achedyo Yamadahyo Yam Achedyo Yamadahyo Yam Akledyo Shoshya Evacha Akledyo Shoshya Evacha Nitya Sarvagatas Tanur Achaloyan sanatanaha. I'm going to check one more thing. Sthanur. Yes, that's correct. Okay. My apologies. Let's start at line 1. We'll do each line, call and response. Okay. Om Achedyo Yamadahyo Yam Achedyo Yamadahyo Yam Akledyo Shoshya Evacha Akledyo Shoshya Evacha Nitya Sarvagatasthānur Achaloyan Sanatanaha. I ran those two together. It just seems like nature to do that. I'll break them apart. Nitya Sarvagatasthānur Nitya Sarvagatasthānur Achaloyan Sanatanaha Achaloyan Sanatanaha. Notice in the third line, we have visarga at the end of nityaha. So I've heard it both ways. I think it's more economical with the tongue to make that nityaha, that aha should change to an us, so that it just goes right into the dental sibilant of sarvagataha. So it's like chanting a double S sound there. So nitya sarva, and then again, sarvagatasthānur. So just see in your mind a double sa, so that it's given that time, that amount of time. Are there any questions before we, or requests before we chant through the entire 4 verses, 4 lines? Good. Okay, let's chant through it and see what we have. Om Achedyo Yamadahyo Yam Akledyo Shoshya Evacha Nitya Sarvagatasthānur Achaloyan Sanatanaha Achedyo Yamadahyo Yam Akledyo Shoshya Evacha Nitya Sarvagatasthānur Achaloyan Sanatanaha. Would you like to move on? Okay, just good. Speak up if you need to repeat anything. Otherwise, we'll move on. Om Avyakto Yamachintyo Yam Avikaryo Yamuchyate Tasmadevam Vidit. Try it over. Tasmadevam Viditvainam Nanu shochitumarhasi. So we'll break that down. Call and response each line. Om Avyakto Yamachintyo Yam. Avyakto Yamachintyo Yam. Avikaryo Yamuchyate. Avikaryo Yamuchyate. Tasmadevam viditvainam. Tasmadevam viditvainam. Nanu shochitumarhasi. Nanu shochitumarhasi. Now let's try 2 lines, call and response. Om Avyakto Yamachintyo Yam. Avikaryo Yamuchyate. Om Avyakto Yamachintyo Yam. Avikaryo Yamuchyate. Tasmadevam viditvainam. Nanu shochitumarhasi. Tasmadevam viditvainam. Nanu shochitumarhasi. The translation for both those verses, and if anyone has a favorite translation, please feel free to contribute. I've happened to have Winthrop Sargent's right here. So verse 24, achedyo. The soul, the immortal aspect that has our bodies as clothing, this cannot be pierced, burned, wetted, or withered. This is eternal, all-pervading, fixed. This is unmoving and primeval. And then verse 25, it is said that this is unmanifest, unthinkable, and unchanging. Therefore, having understood in this way, you should not mourn. Does anyone have a different translation that you would like to offer up?
Leslie, the one in the Stephen Mitchell translation is basically the same as what you read.
Oh, okay. Well, do you want to read it anyway?
Okay. It is called the inconceivable, the unmanifest, the unchanging. If you understand it in this way, you have no reason for your sorrow.
That's lovely. And it is different.
Leslie, can you
Yes.
just clarify what the translation of the yum is?
Yum.
Yeah.
What the yum is the whatsoever. Let's see, where is that? Achedyo, ayam. It's the word is ayam. When there's an apostrophe, the apostrophe is taking the place of the letter A or the sound ba. And jatam nityam. And here Mr. Sargent says ayam. This ayam. Ayam idam.
Thank you.
This is like idam. Idam is another word for this. Ayam, this. This is where Sargent is very, very helpful to have these literal translations of each and every word. Shall we go on to verses 26 and 27? Okay. Om Atha Chainan Nitya Jatam Nityam Vamanyase Mritam Tathapi Tvam Mahabaho Nainan Shochitumarhasi Atha Chainan Nitya Jatam. Again. Atha Chainan Nitya Jatam. Nityam Vamanyase Mritam. Nityam Vamanyase Mritam. Tathapi Tvam Mahabaho. Tathapi Tvam Mahabaho. Nainan Shochitumarhasi. Nainan Shochitumarhasi. So now we'll chant 2 lines together and repeat them. Om Atha Chainan Nitya Jatam Nityam Vamanyase Mritam. Om Atha Chainan Nitya Jatam Nityam Vamanyase Mritam. Tathapi Tvam Mahabaho Nainan Shochitumarhasi. Tathapi Tvam Mahabaho Nainan Shochitumarhasi. So now let's chant that whole verse. Om Atha Chainan Nitya Jatam Nityam Vamanyase Mritam. Tathapi Tvam Mahabaho Nainan Shochitumarhasi. Moving on. Are we good to move on? Om Jatasya Hidruvo Mrityur. Om Jatasya Hidruvo Mrityur. Dhruvam Janmamritasya cha. Dhruvam Janmamritasya cha. Tasmada pariharyerte. Tasmada pariharyerte. Nat tvan shochitumarhasi. Na tvan shochitumarhasi. So now 2 lines together. Om Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janmamritasya cha. Om Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janmamritasya cha. Tasmada pariharyerte natvan shochitumarhasi. Tasmada pariharyerte natvan shochitumarhasi. So we'll chant that all the way through. Om Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvan janmamritasya cha. Tasmada pariharyerte natvan shochitumarhasi. Om Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvan janmamritasya cha. Tasmada pariharyerte natvan shochitumarhasi.
Leslie,
Yes.
could you, that third line, the last section in that line, I think it seems like it's a little difficult. Could you just go over that again? I think it's the combining of the ye and the er.
Yes. Apariharyerte. Now, in Vedic chanting, whenever we encounter this apostrophe, we are taught to almost augment the sound and make what sound precedes the apostrophe last an extra beat in order to compensate for that absent sound. So see if you can hear that when I chant this again. Tasmada pariharyerte. So there should be a deliberate, not slowing down, but kind of an expanding of the sound. It does take up more time to acknowledge the absent because the original word is arte, apariharye, arte. And arte, artha, kim artha. Artha means meaning or purpose. Arte is in purpose. So it's a locative case, in purpose or in consequence, in unavoidable, and apariharyerte. Apariharyerte, this inevitable consequence, literally. So to go back to 26 and 27, so for translation, Sargent says, number 26, and moreover, Even if you think this to be eternally born or eternally dead, even then you should not mourn for this, Arjuna. And then chapter 20, verse 27. For the born, death is certain. Whoever is born is going to die. For the dead, there is certainly birth. So whoever dies is going to be born again, according to this. Therefore, for this inevitable in consequence, you should not mourn. What does Stephen Mitchell have to say about this?
He says, death is certain for the born, for the dead, rebirth is certain. Since both cannot be avoided, you have no reason for your sorrow.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything to add?
I have my my thrift store Bhagavad Gita that I.
Hey, thrift stores.
For one who has taken birth, sorry, let me start over. For one who has taken his birth, death is certain, and for one who is dead, birth is certain. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament.
Good, thank you. Shall we move on to verse 28? Om Avyaktadini Bhutani Vyaktamadhyani Bharata Avyaktanidhananyeva Tatra ka paridevana. Om Avyaktadini Bhutani. Again. Om Avyaktadini Bhutani Vyaktamadhyani Bharata Vyaktamadhyani Bharata. I just went right into the next one. We'll do the second one again. Vyaktamadhyani Bharata Avyaktanidhananyeva Avyaktanidhananyeva Tatra ka paridevana. Tatra ka paridevana. So we'll do 2 lines at a time. Om Avyaktadini Bhutani Vyaktamadhyani Bharata Avyaktanidhananyeva Tatra ka paridevana. Did I say 2 at a time or 1 verse at a time? I'm totally. Are you following fine? I'm just not paying attention to myself at all. Let's do the whole verse again. Om Avyaktadini Bhutani Vyaktamadhyani Bharata Avyaktanidhananyeva Tatra ka paridevana. Oh, one of my favorite verses coming up. Can we just go to the next one, 29? Ashcharyavat. Wonderful. Ashcharyavat pashyati kashchidenam Ascharyavad vadati tathaiva chanyaha Ascharyavat chainamanya shrinoti shrutyapyenam veda nachaiva kaschit. I kind of messed up the third line. Ascharyavat chainamanyaha shrinoti. So I had to take a breath there in that third line, just to let you know, if you can do it all in one breath, then it could be Ascharyavat chainamanya shrinoti. But if you have to take a breath, then it's Anyaha shrinoti. And I think Vyas Houston in his recording does it that way, but I'm not sure. I'll have to listen to it again. Okay, we'll do it line by line. So this is with the asterisk is telling us it's that Trishtub meter with 11 syllables per line. So we will encounter a different melody. Om Ascharyavat pashyati kashchidenam. Om Ascharyavat pashyati kashchidenam. Ascharyavad vadati tathaiva chanyaha. Ascharyavad vadati tathaiva chanyaha. Ascharyavat chainamanyaha shrinoti. Shrutvapyenam vedana chaiva kaschit. Well, I sort of went through that whole one again too. If anyone would like to do that 2 lines at a time or 1 line at a time, would you speak up audibly, or we'll just do the whole verse again?
I think I'd like you to do it with the 2 lines.
Okay, my apologies, everyone.
Thank you.
I get so carried away. Om Ascharyavat pashyati kashchidenam. Ascharyavad vadati tathaiva chanyaha. Om Ascharyavat pashyati kashchidenam. Ascharyavad vadati tathaiva chanyaha. Ascharyavat chainamanyaha shrinoti. Shrutvapyenam veda nachaiva kaschit. Ascharyavat chainamanyaha shrinoti. Shrutvapyenam veda nachaiva kaschit. The second time I did that 4th line, I connected them more properly. Sometimes when I want to take a breath, I just take some poetic license. And so I might go Veda nachai shrutvapyenam veda breath nachaiva kaschit. But if you want to do it correctly, Shrutvapyenam veda nachaiva kaschit. Veda nachaiva kaschit. Translation.
Can I just ask you a question first, Leslie?
Yes.
So again, at the end of the third line, so if you don't take a breath, would you make that double S instead of the anyaha? Would it be anya shrinoti?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yeah, good one. Good call. Yeah. Did you all understand that? Anyashrinoti or anyaha shrinoti, because I took a breath. Anyashrinoti. Someone perceives this as a wonder. Another declares this as a wonder. Still another hears of this as a wonder, but even having heard of this, no one knows it. So Elizabeth and Patty, since you've got access to your translations, could you give us yours that you have in front of you? Not at the same time.
Oh, yeah. So the Stephen Mitchell, some perceive it directly in all its awesomeness. Others speak of it with wonder. Others hear of it and never know it.
Thank you. To the point.
Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all.
Thank you.
So it's referring to the soul, right?
I think so. Yes.
Is the soul always referred to with masculine pronouns?
Atman. That's a good question. I've heard it in masculine and neuter. Of course, being a woman, perhaps I prefer it, but not only being a woman, if it is all of these, possesses all of these qualities that are being discussed, then it shouldn't have a gender either, should it? But I guess these texts came about by men. I don't know. But Atman, I believe, is neuter case. And there's a similarity. I don't know if the message is identical, but in the Mandukya Upanishad, wonderful short little Upanishad, that's an Upanishad that discusses Om. And he talks about and when the fourth state is described and explained, it's that fourth state that it's described similarly to these verses that we've been chanting, that it has nothing. I mean, it's nothing. It's unseeable, it is to be known, and yet it is unperceivable. It is not cognizable. You cannot tell, you can't recognize it. It is everythingable, except it is to be known. But that is discussed in more of a neuter form, I think. I don't know, Lauren, does anybody have anything to say about that? But here it looks like it's masculine. Any other comments on that?
I think Atman is neuter,
Yeah, I think it is too.
because Brahman is neuter.
Brahman is also neuter, right? And that word is also, Atman and Brahman are in the Mandukya Upanishad. They are used, their words used.
But I think Purusha is masculine and Prakriti is feminine.
Yeah.
So kind of depends on what
Purusha.
philosophy you're reading.
Yeah, Purusha Prakriti. Have we had enough, or would you like to do one more verse? Chant all that we've done today? What's the consensus? What would you like to do, everyone?
You go through everything that we've done today?
Yes, let's go out through everything that we've done today. That's on that page, through Ashcharyavat. Okay. Okay, here we go. Om Achedyo Yamadahyo Yam Akledyo Shoshya Evacha Nitya Sarvagatasthánur Achalo Yan Sanatanaha Avyakto Yamachintyo Yam Avikaryo Yamuchyate Tasmadevam Viditvainam Nanushochitumarhasi Athachainam Nityajatam Nityam Vamanyase Mritam Tathapi Tvam Mahabaho Nainan Shochitumarhasi Jatasya Hit Dhruvo Mrityur Dhruvan Janmamritasya Cha Tasmada Pariharyerthe Natvan Shochitumarhasi Avyaktadini Bhutani Vyaktamadhyani Bharata Avyakta Nidhananyeva Tatra Ka Paridevana Ashcharyavat Pashyati Kashchidenam Ashcharyavad Vadati Tathaiva Chanyaha Ashcharyavat Shainamanyaha Shrinoti Shrutvapyenam Veda Nachaiva Kaschit Shrutvapyenam Veda Nachaiva Kaschit. Before we ask for forgiveness from that first, on that other handout, that's on the second page of the invocation, and it's the sheet that looks like this. Some of you have been working with me on the Laghunyasa, which we will continue to work on pretty soon again. But we want to get, I think it's a nice idea to get through this chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. But what I'd like you to do, just in call and response, and it's actually better if you don't have it written in front of you, the refrain from Laghunyasa. So if you've never heard it before, I'll just repeat it and join in when you're comfortable. Om Hridayam Mayi Aham Amrite Amritam Brahmani 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 Hridayam Mayi Aham Amrite Amritam Brahmani. Om. The heart, Hridayam, Mayi, in me. Heart is in me. Aham, I. Amrite, I am in the nectar of immortality. Amritam Brahmani, that nectar is in Brahman. So there seem to be some similarities. It's dangerous to say the message is the same because there are these, in the yoga, I think that Patabi Joyce has brought to all of us, Iyengar method and Ashtanga yoga method and Desikachar included. Certainly with Mr. Iyengar, it's a special duality. But when we read something like the Mandukya Upanishad, it's non-duality. And all I can say is there's a message there that we mustn't confuse messages. Sometimes there are messages in the Bhagavad Gita that sound very non-dual to me. Like Lord Krishna is saying, I am it, I am Brahman. But I am not an expert on the study of that text. And all I know is that I've learned enough to know that there are these ways of thinking and they don't necessarily agree. But sometimes they seem to cross into each other's territory, if that makes any sense to you. Anyway, since we're talking about that which cannot be burned and cannot die, and we can't cleave it, wet it, or burn it up, that's also that part that's in the heart, that's in me, that's in Brahman, because it's also in immortality. Nectar, the sweet, fragrant nectar of immortality. And I've gone on and on. Shall we ask for forgiveness for all our mistakes? I mean, we don't care that we're not perfect, but we want some kind of beauty to come out of our mouths, the beauty of vibration. So maybe there was some. Yadaksharapada brashtam matrahinantu yad bhavet tatsarvang kshamyatam deva narayana namostute Shrimate Narayanaya Namo Namaha Kayena Vacha Manasendriyairva Buddhyatmana Va Prakrite Swabhavat Karomi Yadyat Sakalam Parasmai Narayanaye Narayana yeti samarpayami sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Happy Navaratri, everyone. Thank you so much, Harmony, for leading us in those chants. So maybe we can devote every action that we do, or at least every important activity that we do, we can devote it to our divine favorites. Thanks for coming. You're welcome to stay on and chat. It's now well past 5.
Thanks, Leslie. Bye,
You're so
everyone.
welcome.
Thank you, Harmony. Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Leslie.
Leslie.
Enjoy the day.
Thank you, Patty.
Yeah.
It is.
Bye.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Flying.
Thank you.
Becky, you stayed. Yay. How are you, Becky? Are you all right?
This was very helpful. Thank you.
Ah, yay. Good. Yeah. And
Good.
this
I'm
goes
so
for
glad.
everyone. Whenever there's a need to chant any particular sound or verse or line of anything, let me know ahead of time and I can prepare it and we can do it. And even if you don't let me know ahead of time, if I'm familiar with it, we can do it. So
Great. Thank you, Leslie.
it's so good to see you, Becky.
Really
It's so
good to be with
great.
you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra. I love your shirt. Thank you for your beautiful colors.
Well, it's really hot today, and so
Oh,
I'm back to summer clothes.
well, it's not hot here, but it was a little overcast. And those ladybugs that I hear are not ladybugs are back. They're swarming.
They're like crazy here.
There
Yeah.
is that correct that they are not ladybugs, but they look like them?
They are ladybugs, but they're not the ones that we normally have,
Okay. They came from Japan or someplace?
probably.
Well, they are ladybugs, and it's the deity, the feminine deity. So it's Navaratri. So maybe it's all appropriate. They're goddess
I wish they
I
would
like that
go away.
connection.
manifest in many forms.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandra.
Bye.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Good. So there we
Thank you.
are. Thank
So
you.
glad that I'm glad that Becky came.
Yes, me too. She stayed through the whole thing. She had
Yeah.
sent me an email saying she was feeling tired, wasn't sleeping well, so she wasn't sure. But I told her it was absolutely fine to lie down during the whole thing. So, which is what Colleen Gallagher did. So,
I remember that. Yeah. I mean,
and I'm wearing my beautiful beads. Thank
I
you.
noticed.
And
Thank
there's-
you.
And
I
there's
saw.
your beautiful prayer
I love
flag.
the picture. I'm just honored to be,
Oh yeah.
below those two wonderful teachers.
I think he's pleased. I only met him a couple of times and he was never terribly impressed with me. But I'm sure he's pleased that I'm here. Maybe he doesn't think I'm doing my best, but he's happy for any effort. And that wonderful verse, we've done it before, but I don't think it's come yet. Neha bhi krama. No effort is wasted. That one.
Yes. Yeah,
that's
we have that. We have done that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I can
and what a
almost do
treat-
it. It's in my head. I almost have it there. It's familiar. If you did it, I would know it.
Yeah, and it's in chapter 2, so therefore Vyas is chanting it, so you can chant it with him.
Oh, yes. Good. I haven't been able to listen to the CD yet. I will, though.
Oh,
I'm
no,
looking forward.
yeah. Anyway, thank you for all your gifts and especially you
Ah.
and I just love this. This is
Thank
so
you.
great.
It's so wonderful. It's like I love that there's so much interest, and
Yeah.
it just seems to everything, it's fine. This time works, and it just keep going. Just keep it going the way it
Yeah.
is. Everything is good.
As long as everybody keeps coming back. If it ever gets reduced to just you and me, we'll know that maybe we should try something different. Or we'll just
Doesn't
be
look
you
like
and
that's
me.
happening anytime soon. So
Yeah, that's so great.
Wonderful.
Okay, and thank you for yesterday. I so enjoyed seeing you in person. That was great.
Oh, I know. That was so nice. And I'm going to go watch that movie. I have to look it up on Netflix and
Oh, God,
I can
yeah.
find it. You really convinced
Yeah,
me.
it's wonderful. But as I said, be careful with Winnie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It will scare her. I feel quite confident it would, and but it's it's the laws of nature, and it's,
Sometimes we separate. My husband will go with one of the girls and I'll go with the other and we'll do two separate
oh, perfect.
like viewing things. So maybe
Yeah.
we'll do that.
Yeah, if you have some time. Anyway, it's there.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you so much for everything.
Same to you. Thank
Have a
you.
great evening. Give my best to your girls.
And Lola
And
says
you-
hello.
Oh,
Lola, say hello.
hello, Lola. Hello, beauty.
She
Oh,
loves
Is
Tuesdays
she
at
feeling
4
better
also.
now? You said she
Yeah,
wasn't.
she seems better. I was a little worried about her that day, but now she seems much better.
Oh, maybe she ate something. These
Who
dogs.
knows? It was, well, we were away too. So it was kind of the day after we got home. Maybe she was just hungover.
Oh. That's
Too
probably
many
it.
table scraps or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, have a great evening. Thank you so
too.
much.
Thank you, Leslie.
Namaste.
Namaste.